What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going.
So I listened to our episode from last week with our kids.
Yeah.
And it was super cute.
You liked it?
Audrey totally stole everything of mine. No.
Did she? Yeah.
No. It was cute watching them and, listening to them.
Yeah. You know, I at first, like for our podcast, it's so different that it's really different from what we normally do, right? Mm-hmm. But watching it, I thought it was really cool, like to have, even if it's just for us, mm-hmm. that video of them talking and doing the intro and the outro. If anything, it's worth it for that. You know what I mean? It was a lot of fun. It was cool.
When you told me that you were going to have them on the podcast, I was unsure. I didn't think you would put it out because you are such a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And you like things to be a certain way. And the kids are like stray cats. No.
Yeah.
It's hard to, you never know what they're going to say, what's going to come out of their mouth, how they're going to respond. Like, it's like you are tossing a coin.
Yeah.
But
like Joey and his sound effects.
It's just,
but they're little kids.
They're little, and it was cool to see them, and they enjoyed it. Have you watched it with them?
I haven't watched it I've watched parts of it with them.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, I'm still, it's weird though. I wasn't congested all day, and then all of a sudden it just came.
We turn the lights on and you get congested.
No, it was right before, but I can hear like a head cold.
So obviously, like you guys heard last week, Sonja wasn't here.
I got the cooties.
Because she got the Rona.
I got the Rona.
She got that Rona. And
what was crazy though is that when I got it, I just thought I had a sore throat. Like I just thought I have a sore throat because I get sore throats and tonsillitis. I've always had a problem, with that growing up. So I didn't, think I had it. But in order to clear things up,
we got to go get tested.
Yep. Went and got tested. And for those of you that don't know, there are home tests that you can actually take.
Yeah.
And what sucks is that when we were calling around, because it was on a Sunday, to get a test, nobody was open, or you had to make an appointment, but nobody suggested, or nobody said, oh, hey, by the way, we have home tests. No one.
Yeah, this was the thing, is that before, the first time that we were tested, we were tested, twice before this? And the times that we were tested, we went to like a urgent care or like a minute clinic type thing. Mm-hmm. And they would take us in, they did the nasal swab, whatever. And then they would give us the results either in 15 minutes or a couple days later or whatever. But it was at a minute clinic or, at an office. We had to go somewhere. And now that's like disappearing, because the place that we went to before at CVS, they don't give tests anymore. Like they don't, you can't sign up to get a COVID test.
Right.
What you have to do is go like you're sick and you have symptoms. Like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I have a fever and I have a sore throat and I have a cough. And then they're like, sounds like you have COVID. Let's give you a test.
Well, what they did with me was I told her about the sore throat.
Yeah.
And she swallowed me for strep throat. Now, when that came back negative, then she did the COVID test, and then it came back positive, but I didn't have a fever at all.
No.
Right? Like I didn't have a fever, shortness of breath, not really, but when I would go up and down the stairs, like I could feel like,
can you feel
I still do. Like I went for a walk today, a pretty good walk. And I felt okay, but I could feel, like just a slight heaviness, like I'm out of shape, and I'm not that out of shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I haven't worked out in a while, walking does not do that to me.
Yeah, you're not going to.
It has to be like a
walking.
pretty fast pace walk for me to feel that way.
Yep.
But I had a lot of fatigue, which is, I was sleeping all day, right?
Yeah.
Like I just slept and I had no energy for nothing.
What do you say? It was about maybe like 3 or 4. Yeah, maybe a little more. Maybe like 5 or 6 days where you were like tired. Like you would nap.
I thought it was the entire
nap.
time. I only had 2 days where like today.
Today is day 10, right? Today is day 10.
Yes. So
yeah, I would say about 7, maybe 7 out of the 10 days, like you were taking naps throughout the day.
I would say 8.
Right.
There were 2 days where but I would make myself go and lay in the sun. I would get in the pool. I'd wake up early.
Yeah.
Make myself take a walk around the block. You know.
I think today is probably like the most normal, back to normal that I've seen you today.
I cleaned our bathroom, scrubbing our. I was
yesterday you made some food for the kids.
Oh, that's true.
You know, so that shows like you're getting back to, you know, back to normal.
Yeah.
And then you had another day where you didn't really nap. Like you still didn't do much, but you didn't nap throughout the day. Yeah. You know, you were just up. Mm-hmm. But besides that was pretty much it, right?
That was pretty. And
you got a little stuffy.
Yeah, is that the support, like all the calls.
Yeah.
You know, I had one of my friends from church the first day. You know, she brought me vitamins galore. Like
thank you so much for the people that
C, T. Yes. I mean, you know, just they made sure that I was taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, and she gave me some great advice because when I first got it, I was so tired, and I get on weekly calls with my church. It's a women's call. And, you know, we talk about, there's just different subjects that we talk about on a daily basis. And if something's going on, we have a prayer group. But what I love about this group is that it's real and it's raw. You know, like all the women on there, they speak their truth. They're as vulnerable as can be. And some of them are going through some things in their relationships. Some of them are going through situations with employment, you know, just everything, health. And hearing these women share their stories and how they were able to get out of it, and then offering help to other women that are going through similar situations. And I remember my friend who brought me all the vitamins and the food for us.
Yeah.
Well, it was so cute because she knows Audrey's gluten-free, and she brought gluten-free pizza,
gluten-free bread.
That made me feel so good.
Yeah, that was nice.
Very unexpected. But she told me, listen, because she's had Corona twice. She's like, listen, you're not going to want to get on the calls. She's like, you're going to be very tired. You're going to be fatigued. You're not going to feel good. She's like, but let me tell you, she's like, these calls will get you through the day. So make sure that you're on the calls, even if you're just listening.
Yeah.
You know, and that helped a lot, you know, just being on there and listening to a lot of, you know, just prayer and positive, you know, individuals sharing their truths. And, you know, I love that. And then towards the end, okay, and for any of you watching this, okay, if you get COVID, stay away.
That's what I was writing right now because I didn't want to forget it. That's what I was typing as you were talking.
Yes, stay away from those family members that are negative.
Wait. Okay, so hold up. Before you jump into that, let me like so you got Corona. Today is day 10 for you. Right?
Yes. And
you're negative.
I'm negative. Yes. And of course, as soon as Miguel hears that, he's like such a slave driver.
I'm like, get your ass to work.
As soon as it came out negative, he's like, hey, you want to record a podcast? And I'm like, I just came back from a walk. Like, no, I just got done scrubbing the shower, and now you're wanting me to do a podcast? Like, you're asking a lot from me. But damn, when Miguel's on it, he's on it. So no, I'm just kidding.
Wait a minute.
No.
So let me reveal a little information.
No, he sees me scrubbing a tub.
You're not the only one that's gotten Corona.
Oh.
Because one of us is actually positive right now.
Yeah, but you don't have any symptoms. I was more sick than you.
Well, maybe.
Okay, so wait, now you're taking us elsewhere.
No, so wait. I know. No, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. But what I was gonna say is, so I'm just trying to share like what's been happening here in the house. So like you got it 10 days ago. Mm-hmm. And since you've had it, we've been testing to make sure that we're good. And then recently I found out that I have it. And now that...
So this is how he says it. And I was going to say something else. And now he comes into my room on Sunday because let me tell you, those of you that know me, I am an extrovert, right? My energy comes from other people.
Yeah.
And I've been so lonely. Been so lonely.
This is Sonja in the bedroom. That's all you hear.
That was the worst of all of this, was not being able to hug my husband and my children. Yeah. And it was very difficult for Audrey. I can tell you, because Adriana, her and I, we just love on each other all the time because we're both very affectionate, you know. But anyways, so Sunday morning comes around and I'm sleeping. It's already been a week since I've had it. And Miguel comes and he freaking kisses me. And I look at him like, what the are you doing? And he has a big ass smile and he's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and like, you're happy? Fine. Like,
wait, I gave you a kiss what? And then I grabbed the titty. Because it's been a week. Up. I'm just saying. It had been I couldn't even touch you. I'm just saying. It had been a week.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't even hug you or nothing. So I gave you a kiss, I gave you a hug, and then I grabbed the titty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So let's get back. So then,
so we've been testing regularly.
We've been calling family, you know, and just talking. Of course, you know, my mom's worried out of her mind, and this is all I gotta say. Like mentally, you have to. No,
this is a tip for anybody that knows, or like if you get a family member that has corona.
Yes.
Or a friend or something, and they call you and tell you, all you need to do is, how are you feeling?
Yes.
Okay, do you need anything? Okay, great. Is there anything that I can do? Something like that.
Right.
What you definitely do not want to do is start telling them about everyone the people who's died that you know that has died with corona. Right. Because you know what? I just told you that I have it.
Right.
Like it happened to you and then it started happening to me.
Right.
And the thing is that if you have one of those personalities where you worry and you're like, oh my God, dude, that would drive you crazy.
Even if you don't have that personality, because I don't think I'm a worrywart.
No.
You know, but I can tell you
exactly
that it plays a role.
It puts the thought in your head.
Yes,
and you start and then
you start feeling like you're like serious. One time, like I felt like I felt anxiety coming on.
Yes, me too.
And if you noticed, I watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
Right. And they were shows that were soothing, relaxing. Like, you know, I would fall asleep watching them.
Yeah.
You know, because my mind, you know, would sometimes just take off. At times. But you need those individuals that are positive and that are going to, you know.
No, it's not even the positive. It's just like, hey, is there anything that you need? How do you feel?
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty, like, I don't know how many people I heard talking to you, telling you about all the people that they knew that freaking died or that have had, they were hospitalized for I don't know how long. And then I'm talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, I had a friend of mine. Oh dude, he was super healthy. The guy runs marathons.
Matter of fact, he looks just like you.
Yeah, he looks just, he's dead as fuck. Dead, super dead. Like, and I'm like, fucking thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Right.
That's like if, you know, like sometimes I saw this, I was kind of thinking about this. I saw this fight, a UFC fight, not that long ago. And this guy broke his leg like really bad. And when you break your leg like that, there's a risk of having a bad infection, right? That's kind of like if you know somebody that has that broken leg and then you call them up and you're like, oh, dude, I knew somebody that had a broken leg like that. Their leg got infected and they fucking cut it off. It's like,
right.
How about you tell me about the guy that took the antibiotics, he did the rehab and he was fucking great and he was running marathons again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't tell me about the fucking amputee.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But we're all doing good.
Right. And so I was listening to Dave Asprey, and you've
Bulletproof Radio.
So I talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I love the podcast. You know, it's very informative. He always has like holistic doctors, scientists on, and I've heard it guest after guest after guest talk about the media. You know, why is it that no one is telling us, okay? And since COVID started, okay, the media has done everything up, but helped.
Yep.
Everything but helped, okay? They have not talked to us about, you know, hey, you should work out, focus on your health, focus on what you're putting into your body to strengthen the body. Food is medicine. They're not talking about the different medicines that help, you know, how much vitamin C you should take, zinc. What's the other one you bought?
L-lysine, that helps you absorb the zinc.
Right. Yeah. Tea, green tea, you know, just what to do even before having COVID, like making sure that you are putting you number one, you know, that you are your priority. And not only that, but getting the kids to see as well, you know, getting the kids to eat healthier, and I know that I know that it's difficult to eat healthy, but when you see, right, when you see the results, you have a higher chance of fighting this and anything else that comes your way if your immune system is intact and you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, you know, because they make fast food so cheap, right?
God, yeah.
Sugar, carbs, gluten, all of it is poison.
Yeah. No, it's true. The best defense against COVID is being healthy. And being healthy and being the sun, being out.
Right.
Like the sun kills COVID and you need vitamin D. Like that's very important for COVID.
Right.
But you're supposed to be quarantined inside. Like nobody's talked about, do you know you can work out inside? Like you could do push-ups in your garage. You can run around your block and you're not, contaminating anybody or getting anybody sick or any of that.
Walking.
You could go,
Right.
But I haven't heard one public freaking announcement about, hey, make sure you guys are healthy. Make sure you're working out. Make sure, you know, that you're doing aerobics and keeping your lungs healthy.
Right.
They don't talk about any of that stuff. It's just stay inside and quarantine and definitely get this vaccine because it's going to save you.
And I remember back in the day, I would do intermittent fasting. And if you guys don't know what intermittent fasting is, look it up. But I used to do it back in the day, not knowing that I was doing it, but just because I was so busy. You know, I was always busy, and I'm an entrepreneur, been since 2006. And so my schedule has never been 8 to 5. So a lot of times I didn't eat until like 1 o'clock. And I remember my mom and everybody used to get on me. That is so unhealthy. Don't do that. But meanwhile, doing that, I believe has helped me, you know, with my health today.
Yeah.
You know, because how it helps regenerate cells.
Yeah. See, the thing behind intermittent fasting is...
And I'll look up more. I'll do more research so that I can explain more about intermittent fasting and how it helps the body and how it helps to build your immune system.
Yeah. Well, the basics of intermittent fasting is that, like I've mentioned, I've explained this before on the podcast, but if you look back, like humans and the human body hasn't changed very much in the last few thousand years, you know, and in the last, I don't even know if you would say 100, but there's refrigeration now. And now we can keep food and, you know, we have agriculture, we have farming, we have all these things where we have enough food now and we can eat whenever we want. Where back in the day, we used to have to catch something and kill it and cook it and eat it. Right. So that means that you might go a day without eating, or you may go hours, or you might catch something in the afternoon. Like you don't eat all day, every day. You don't graze. We're not cows.
Right.
We have to catch something, kill it, and eat it. So right now, because we have food available to us all the time, and we're always eating, like especially like when you're trying to work out, what's the one thing they always say? Oh, you got to eat 5 small meals a day.
Oh, that I could never do it. I would actually. I did it for a bit, but I had to be on that.
And
carrots,
the thing is,
apples, I cut up in my purse.
Yeah, the thing is that
and it was all wrong.
When you do that, your body is processing food the entire day.
Right.
So when you start intermittent fasting, there's a point where your body doesn't have food to process anymore, and now it starts to dedicate itself to rebuild cells and to do other important things that your body needs to do.
Right.
It uses that energy for those things.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of other benefits, but that's one of the major benefits of intermittent fasting.
So Dave Asprey, just look him up. He has such great information regarding our health.
Yeah.
You know, and he was just talking about how the media destroyed. They're just, you know, with all the lack of information today, it's like you don't know what is real and what is fake.
Yeah.
You know, and you can be doing research and thinking that you're doing the right research and getting the wrong information. You know, so it's like you have to know you, and you have to know your body and pay close attention to that. And that's what they were talking about. Like he said, you know, my son, Dave Asprey, has a son who's old enough to know his pain. That's what he said. He's old enough to know his pain. So he's educated him on what carbs and sugar, what they do to the body. And now his son is, you know, he's wanting to eat, you know, fries and do all that thing. And he's like, well, if that's what you want, do it. And then he says that once his son became more aware of how he would feel when he would put those things into his body.
Yeah.
And that's when he recognized that, you know what, this stuff cannot be good for you, you know, after eating a crap load of carbs and how you feel in the morning.
The slug. Yeah.
Yep. And then with all of that causes inflammation and all the aches and pains.
We're not doctors, by the way.
No, and all the ache. But Dave Asprey, he has doctors on there that talk about this, but they talk about all of
Look
that.
it up for yourselves.
And what causes inflammation. And a lot, 95% is what you put into your body.
Yeah.
You know, and you and I, we've, you know, been off the rails. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you one thing, the great thing about this COVID, I lost 10 pounds.
Yeah, I haven't
like
checked.
I haven't had an appetite with it, but I force myself to eat because I'm taking all these vitamins.
Yeah.
So I don't want to
if you take all that
sick
without eating, you start feeling like shit.
You know, so I've been making myself eat, but it's mainly soups, crackers.
Yeah.
You know, which crackers aren't good, but right now that was the only thing that, you know, I felt that I could hold down.
Yeah.
You know, but other than that, like I feel fine, and I'm so excited to be negative.
And you're recovering.
God,
you're on the recovery.
Right. Recovery path. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you're pretty much almost done with it. You just got to get a little bit of your energy back and you'll be all right. Yeah. So since this whole thing started, there's been a lot of stuff that has changed. And I'm sure if you guys are listening to the podcast, you guys have already heard all the things that people are talking about. And these things don't seem to be like a crazy conspiracy theory anymore. They're not. I don't know if you've looked it up. I've sent it to you. I don't know if you've looked it up, but this is pretty much, it's coming out.
No, they're talking about it.
It's coming out everywhere now.
Right. Yeah. Facebook isn't blocking it anymore.
Yeah. So just kind of going back. Well, I just wanted, how do you, I've asked you before, I don't know if you remember, if you said anything, but how do you feel about catching COVID and being sick and knowing that most likely this was done by people? This wasn't a bat or a natural thing that happened. This was people fucking around and caused a global pandemic that has killed millions of people. You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about getting sick from something that people did?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah.
Crickets?
There's so much that goes into that. There's just so much that goes into that. I mean, even with COVID, we can get into all kinds of stuff.
Oh, we will.
With the food administration, with the pharmaceuticals, like you can get into so much stuff with that. You know,
But how do you feel about it? That you got sick from it?
It sucks. It sucks.
It sucks that it's true.
It starts with, Yeah. And those are things that you can't control. Like, I can't control what they're doing. Should they be held responsible? Yes. What are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? I don't know.
This is what I'm like in my profession. When I was working on aircraft and helicopters and anybody that does what we do, and it's not just us, but there's a lot of jobs that are similar that have a certain degree of responsibility where if you don't do your job and something happens, you can go to prison for it.
Right.
If I work on a helicopter or on a jet or something and I don't do the right thing and that jet crashes and people die,
they're
gonna look up the records and see who did what. And if they find out that Miguel fucked up, guess who's going to jail?
Right.
I don't see this as any different than that.
Right.
And when it comes to like this whole pandemic thing, I think a lot of times people are like, you hear that it was done by people and you're like, what the hell were they doing? But there are reasons to do this kind of stuff. And part of it is to prevent pandemics. I don't understand all the science about it, like how they're working on this stuff so that they can find vaccines for things that may come out in the future and stuff like that, from what I understand. The thing is that, like you were saying earlier with the media and everything else, when this thing first kicked off, and it's so bad because this thing kicked off, like there's a whole thing, like look it up, #StopAsianHate. A lot of that is because of this.
That's just ridiculous.
You know, they made up the fucking story that a dude ate a bat. And that started all kinds of racial shit. You know, like people are looking at them like, you know, what are you guys doing? Like these wet markets are disgusting.
It's not their fault. It's not.
It was all bullshit. And then you find out that we were contributing to the funding for this stuff. Right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like when it comes to like now the vaccine, like I don't give a fuck if people look at me like, oh, you're fucking crazy. Like, oh, you're one of those people. And it's like, hey, they already fucking lied to us. Like now I'm supposed to believe, oh no, we're telling the truth this time for reals, for realsies. The fuck out of here. I'm not, oh, and you want me to shoot this shit into my body? No. It's crazy.
Right. But, and that's why I said you don't know what to believe anymore. Right? Before, things were different. I mean, the news was still, we never watched the news. We've been together for 14 years, married 13 years.
You keep adding years.
I don't know,
We're going on 13. Shit, 13, babe. Our anniversary's coming up.
That's right. What are you going to do for me? No. You already know what I want.
Yeah.
So, you just, you know, we're living in different times. We're living in different times, and it can take you down a really dark hole if you allow it to consume you with everything that's going on.
We're going to take you down a dark hole here in a second. But first, make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share with those that you know. Make sure that like I said, share it. You can find all of our social media there, our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can see it all there. You can also, when you go to our website, either on the mobile phone or on the desktop, if you click on the Support the Show tab, it'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase through that link doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps out the show. And you'll also see a link to Trust Inc.
And Trust Inc., we are a nationwide mobile notary and signing agency. If you are in the process of purchasing, selling, or refinancing your home, give us a call. Request us to be your signing agency.
And you can go to trustinkUSA.com to go there directly. And also, we are affiliates with Libsyn, which is who hosts our podcast. And if you guys have a hobby that you want to talk about and you want to start a podcast, you can use promo code OAP for Opposites Attract Podcast with Libsyn. And that'll get you the rest of whatever month you sign up in for free, and the next month for free just for trying out Libsyn. Promo code OAP. And they're the ones that distribute the podcast to iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, all the different places where you get the audio podcast. And you can also find our merch on Amazon just by searching Opposites Attract Podcast. We have t-shirts, phone cases, pop sockets, all that stuff.
All that good stuff.
So, yeah.
So yeah, back in the day, I think it was even before you and I got together, I started reading some books on.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a whole different podcast about the pharmaceuticals and our food and how it's being deteriorated and poisoned and all this other stuff, and we're feeding, and we're consuming it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things out there, and if you go down that rabbit hole, you will find yourself in a dark
place.
And that's why I say, like, it starts with us. It does. Like, we can't change the world, but if we all take responsibility for our planet, for our ocean, just if we as individuals take responsibility and do what is right?
Yeah.
What is right? It all starts with us. What are you doing?
Go for it, man.
No, it should be a happy one.
Oh.
That's more gloomy. No,
I don't think I have. I have action and I have sad. That's all I got right now. I got to get happy.
No, but seriously, it's like, let's recycle. Which we do, but let's go out and pick up, some trash on the freeways. Let's go out and feed our homeless. Let's plant a tree. Let's
hug a tree.
Hug a tree. Yes, I love. I'm a tree hugger. It's recycle. Why buy more shit that we don't need?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So recently, I know you don't really, I don't think you like talking about it, but recently I had talked to you because you're talking about all these rabbit holes, right?
Yes.
And we've looked at a lot of things, and we've seen a shit ton of rabbit holes, right?
Right.
You got the COVID rabbit hole. You got the Jeffrey Epstein rabbit hole that you can go down if you want. You got the elections politics rabbit hole that you can go down if you want.
The social media.
The social media manipulating us rabbit hole if you want.
Yep. Only allowing us to see what they want us to see, promote what they want to promote.
The food rabbit hole. You can go down that, factory farming and all that other stuff. Pharmaceutical. You can go down that.
Yes.
The oceans.
Medical. Yep.
The environment. There are so many. And the thing is that, like you said, with the media, you have no clue who to trust. Like with one of the documentaries that we were watching, they were talking about, it was about fishing, commercial fishing, and how all these cans and packages of seafood have these labels saying sustainably sourced and that it was like a no harm catch or something, like pretty much saying like that they're doing their part for the environment and that this fish that you're eating was responsibly caught, which turns out that that's all bullshit because nobody's like verifying anything out in the middle of the ocean.
The marijuana rabbit hole.
Oh, geez. Everything.
Now they're giving you a joint for a what?
Joints for jabs. I don't know what, look that up. It's a program in some city or state, or it sounds like California, but they're giving people over 21 free joints for getting the vaccine. Some people are going to be like, well, I wasn't going to get the vaccine. They're like, I'm going to go get it now. But that's something that they're doing.
But before...
Oh, yeah. But before, if you're
going to jail.
You got caught with that joint, you would have went to jail.
You're going to jail, right?
And the Great Atlantic Garbage Patch, look that shit up. I mean, I think it's a patch of garbage in the ocean the size of Texas or something. Like, it's ridiculous. When you start looking at I saw another article saying that in the last, I don't know if it's like since 2005 or 2009, the Earth has been retaining, it's been retaining heat at an alarming rate. That the climate change, like normally what happens is like the sun, like, I don't know, it produces, it gives us heat and then we can like give off, or it like bounces off, we bounce off a certain amount of heat back into space. But recently in the last, I don't know how many years, a lot of that heat is staying on Earth, and it's getting hotter. And they're saying that the shit's happening it's happening faster. It's accelerating.
And that's causing problems in our oceans.
Yeah, in everything.
Yeah.
And but then like you were saying with the media, you know, they'll say one thing and then we find out that it's something different. And then you have all these different sides. Like you can look at the media and you know for sure, like, oh, they're on that side and these guys are on that side, and we have no clue anymore who to listen to.
So what do we do?
And I had talked to you about, like, with everything that we've seen, like the oceans are going to shit, right? The country, the politics, and all that is going to shit too, right? Farming and food is a fucking disaster. Are we making progress faster than we're destroying things? Because it sure doesn't seem like it.
I don't believe so, but there are people out there, there are organizations, there are nonprofits that we should probably get in contact with so that we can help give out their information so people can start donating to these organizations, because that's the only way we're going to be able to help. It starts with us.
I don't know about that. I mean, maybe, but no, the thing is money talks. And corporations, like, I have what? Like, if I wanted to give somebody as much as I could to make a difference, what am I going to do?
But that's not just you. I'm talking about, we have this platform. We know other people that have platforms.
Yes.
Right?
But the platforms are controlled by the same people that we don't want to listen to. And what are they going to put out? Are they going to put out the information from us and people that are trying to fix stuff, or from their buddies that pay them to either keep shit down or to push what they want them to push?
Well, you just need to know.
The sustainably sourced fishing.
Yes. But you need to know how to say it without getting blocked. There's ways where you don't have to name, like we're having this conversation. We haven't threw out, right?
Yeah.
Any names?
I don't know.
Corporations or anything
might get
like
blocked.
this.
Look,
I don't think so. We're not naming anything.
No.
So I think this is just an,
I was thinking about
overview.
Yeah. I was thinking about this before we started the podcast, because I knew we were going to get into some of this stuff, and I knew that this might or might not get the podcast taken down, because we've had one taken down off of YouTube and we have no idea why. But if one of our podcasts ever get taken down, you can always listen to it by going to our website. And the video is always on Facebook and YouTube. So last time YouTube took it down, and that's why we actually started posting on Facebook also, so that people could watch the video there if they wanted to. But yeah, I'm getting tired of having to fucking censor myself, because the big brother is watching over, and they're like, oh, you can't say that.
And you're one of many.
And then they want to make it seem like people are fucking crazy when they say, hey, I think this thing escaped from a lab.
Right.
Because if you said that a year and a half ago, you were a fucking psycho.
Right. You're a conspiracy.
Yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist. Yeah.
Conspiracy.
You're a conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
You know what and guess what? Those crazy people turned out to be right.
Yeah.
And you know what? The crazy people seem to be turning out right a lot more often
after all
than they did before.
Yeah.
It's sad. And I was talking to you about it, like, just looking at the state of everything and us having kids. They're still young, but when they get to a certain point and they're thinking about having kids, we need to look at the state of the world again. Because, like, seriously, right now, if we were thinking about having kids, would you be like, for sure, 100%, let's do it?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm saying if we didn't have kids.
Oh.
If you take into account what's happening in the world, I mean, it's not like our generation, they may feel some effects of it by the time they get older, but our grandkids, they may be around. They're going to be around for a different world. They're going to live in a different world than we live in today.
See, and this is what's so crazy, like with you and I, because I understand what you're saying, and I do understand how you feel. Okay. I understand 100% how you feel. but I still see the goodness.
I understand.
In things and in people. And I can see the people that are, and maybe it's the stuff I'm listening. Maybe it's because I listen to Dave Asprey. Maybe it's because I listen to Jim Quick. Maybe it's because I listen to, people that are actually doing something about it, and people that are speaking truth, and they have all these scientists and all these other big people bringing awareness of what's happening and what's real and what's not. And I am listening to the people that are doing something about it. So I don't feel the doom and gloom of it. I see the rainbow. I see the change that people are doing. And it's not going to happen overnight. And we need a lot of people to come on board and start educating the public on what's happening and what's real. And you know what I'm saying?
So in the time that they've done what they've been doing, I'm not that you may not know, but in the time that he's been doing what he's been doing,
and it's not.
Let's say that there's a group that is against some of the things that pharmaceutical companies may do, right? And they're starting something and they want to push back against pharmaceutical companies, right? Are they going to have as much impact as the pharmaceutical company? Are they having is the pharmaceutical company progressing faster? Or are they progressing faster in spreading their message?
I don't have that answer. I don't know. But
it doesn't seem like the people that are trying to do the good things are spreading their messages as fast as the big companies with the big money.
People are starting to listen. People are starting to listen.
Maybe. I hope so.
People are starting to listen.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it all starts in our home. It starts with us. It starts with us educating the kids, talking to the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then them teaching their friends.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to think, because everywhere you turn, it's just, what the hell is real? What is the truth? Where the fuck is the truth at? Dude, even with martial arts, it's fucking everywhere. It is everywhere. There was something that I was watching with these fucking fake martial artists and people that wish that this shit was real. And then they get into something and they get the shit beat out of them because guess what? Somebody bullshitted you and you believed it.
Mm-hmm. It's always been there.
But there's a lot more. You know what? It's harder. It's harder today to distinguish what's true from what's not.
Yeah, because we live in a technology-based society.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's why. That's why people are becoming aware. This has always been around. Social media has not been as big as it is today. I mean, think about it. From back in the day, when you wanted to talk to your friend, you were in the Air Force, right?
Exactly. And your friend, about to say that.
How would you do that? You would write a letter. Write a letter. I'm just saying, today you can get on Facebook, you can get on Twitter, now it's a click away and you are connected to information, real information, fake information, whatever it is. Yeah. It's instant.
And
it's happening faster now than ever. And people.
Well, you just brought up the Air Force and the military. I was in the military, and I had talked to you about this, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the misinformation, the lack of trust between the people that are supposed to be leading us and the people that are supposed to be giving us information. Mm-hmm. When I was finishing up high school, or when I was younger, the military was pretty much one of my only options. Not options, but that was the only thing that I had in my head. That's what I want to do. And since I joined the military, and I've explained it on here, I've gotten into some trouble in the military, and I ended up getting, kicked out and all that. And I've never held a grudge against the Air Force, because you know what? I've gotten so much out of those 4 years that I was in. I've taken advantage of everything that I could from being in there. And it's built the career that I have now, even though I had that trouble. So I'm still grateful for what the Air Force gave me.
Right. The experience.
And up until very recently, I've always had that feeling when I would meet a young person and they would tell me, I don't know what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to do that. Or even if they tell me I want to go to college, I would tell them, hey, have you thought about joining the Air Force or the military? Usually the Air Force, because, but you guys know why, for those of you in the other branches. But you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But up until recently, with everything that's happening in the government, in the world, I don't know if I want to fight for that. I don't know if I want if I want these people sending my kids to go fight something or do something. Like, no. Morally, I'm not feeling it, because our government is just such a fucking disaster. And I don't know if I have a feeling that it's gotten worse over the last few years. I don't think it was like this when I joined.
Yeah. But
it's sad. Yeah, it's very sad. I don't know.
So, on a happy note,
but there was one thing that we were talking about. So recently, we have been talking a lot about like the religion and spirituality and all that stuff. And lately, I've been having like a really hard time with everything that's been happening with all of it put together. It's all very similar, and all of it is kind of this. It's been bugging me, the state of the world. And we've had I wouldn't say, it's not like really trouble, but it's just been a lot of back and forth, and I don't know, what would you call it?
We disagree. We have disagreements on certain things, and it's just because I'm.
Yeah, not to get into all that again. Yeah, but I'm just saying that recently we've had kind of like the longest period where we've had kind of like an issue, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like we weren't getting along or anything like that, but it was just like constant back and forth, right? And talking to our kids, or actually it was when they went to the encounter, and you said that somebody had talked to them and that you had a feeling that they thought that we were having trouble in our relationship.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Like we understand that we're not.
They didn't. Audrey.
Yes. But me and you understand that we're not having trouble in our relationship. We're just having.
Like, we know that our love.
We're not getting divorced.
Right.
We just have differences of opinion.
Right.
But our kids and our daughter, especially, I don't know if she understood that we were just having differences of opinion. Now, they're very passionate and spirited differences of opinion.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're getting divorced.
Yeah. But this is the thing. Our kids are not used to seeing us have disagreements. We are normally on the same page. So for us to be having these conversations, these passionate conversations, there's never no disrespect. And there's never been no disrespect, even in our differences. Even right?
During the hottest arguments.
We always come from love and respect.
But our kids still felt uncomfortable.
Yes, because they're not used to us having disagreements. They're used to seeing us hug and kiss and be all over each other. Well, not all over each other in front of them, but that's what they're used to. They're used to feeling the love and the support. Yeah. So when these issues came up, they were, worried. Audrey was, and
dang, I should have talked to her about that last week.
I really didn't see it, and I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
Until her and I, when she came home, I told her that you and I had a conversation and that we agreed to disagree.
Yeah.
you know, and she's seen that we were being more affectionate with each other. Yeah. And she said, my prayers worked. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, this is what she was getting prayed over, you know, over at in church, you know? And she told me how she felt. And what is so crazy, amazing, how her and I are so much alike. You know, like we're so much alike in that book that I'm reading, the one that I said I want us to read together, it talks about how my temperament, we need, because of how we are, we need that spiritual connection.
Yeah.
You know? And because I'm sensitive to energy, if I didn't have my God, all this doom and gloom that you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, it's no joke. I would be in a very bad place.
All this you mean the world that we live in?
I'm just saying though, because I've always been able to see the rainbow in the storm, always. And I feel it in my heart, like 100%, that things are going to get better.
Yeah.
Like I feel it, I sense it, I know it.
No, I get it.
And having that has helped me keep my sanity.
Yeah.
You know, and it's helped me to help others that are depressed, you know, going through the stresses of life. I'm able to help them through God, give them sense of peace. And that's all everyone wants. Like all we want. This is so stupid because we complicate things. We overcomplicate things because we want the same thing. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you live. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what you believe. Underneath all of it, we want peace. We want joy.
We want our kids to
and
be
we
happy.
Want love.
We want our kids to grow.
Yes.
If you live in a fucking tribe, that's what you want too.
Yes. And it doesn't matter what you believe or what you don't believe. It's like we all have to agree to disagree. That's it. Yeah. Just because I don't believe what you believe, it doesn't make me a bad person and it doesn't make you a bad person.
Now, what we were talking about though is how the kids were feeling uncomfortable.
Right?
Excuse me. And like you said, we never got to that point where it was disrespectful.
Right.
We never insulted each other or got physical or any of that stuff. And our kids felt uncomfortable.
Right.
They thought, or Audrey thought, that we could get a divorce. And at one point we started thinking, what about other people? Like how did those kids feel when their parents...
Yes. When there is disrespect.
When there is physical abuse. When there is mental abuse. Like if our kids feel uncomfortable, I can't imagine what those kids... I mean, I was one of those kids.
Yes, right?
And I don't know. Yes.
See, and that's the thing is that when you become an adult, okay, when you become an adult and you have all those past traumas, right? Think about it. I remember like feeling scared as a little girl when my mom was going through her challenging moments and being there for my mom and being so young, but feeling the fear that I was going to lose my mom.
Yeah.
And that trauma and drinking and just all of that, you know, that I was going through and witnessing and how that played a role in my adulthood with love, right? Yeah. With love, with
security. There's a certain
of that. And with my dad not being around, feeling abandonment issues, feeling insecure, you know, and all of that. But some of us have so much pride and are so unaware of where all this trauma comes from that we're living in darkness. Like seriously, until you self-reflect, until you fall on your face, and until you become mindful of your feelings, because so many people shove those feelings down and they don't realize that their childhood trauma is playing a part of their lack of love and peace and joy today.
Yeah.
You know, and some people don't ever wake up. They never have that moment because of their associations. You know what I'm saying? Like they stay in those dark places. And that's why, like, being a part of something, you know, we are made, like you brought up tribes, right? We are not made to be alone in this world. We're not, we're made, we grow together. We learn together.
You know, even, it's just crazy. Even when you think about just common sense as humans, as like one of the things that they tell you, I mean, it's just one of those things that we think, or somehow this became a thing. But when a baby is born, how do you train a baby? Not like, usually like a lot of people say like you feed them, change their diaper, make sure they don't need anything, and then you put them in the crib. And if they cry and they don't need anything, well then you can let them cry.
You let them sue themselves.
Yeah, no. You
let them cry themselves. You let them to become what's the
like
word?
Independent or
right,
or
which I heard that's not true.
This is the thing. Studies. Is that look at most, like, to me, it only makes sense that if I have a newborn baby human,
right,
that I need to keep this thing as close to me as possible,
right,
so that it feels comfort,
yes,
and that it's not going to be hurt.
Yep. And in the animal kingdom, that's what they do.
Just fucking lock them in the room and put a fucking camera on it.
See, but that's just misinformation. That all that is misinformation. We have so much misinformation. When you look at our food pyramid is all wrong. It is upside down. It is upside down. And we followed that forever. And our schools followed that as well.
And,
wheat
and guess
grain.
What? And why? Why?
Because of corporations. It's
and money.
Right. It's money. And that's why, you know, you hear it like the root of all evil is money, but it's not. It's the heart.
It's the love of money.
It's a heart. Yeah, the love of money. But it's the heart. It's a heart issue, right?
All money does is amplifies. We've said it. Right. All it does is amplifies. If you're a good person with money,
yes,
then you'll do good things with that money.
Right.
If you're an asshole with money, if you're an asshole, you're just going to be an asshole with money.
But you know what's so crazy is that because I grew up poor, when it comes to that, what do you call it? Yes. They frown upon people that have money.
Yeah.
You know, like they frown upon people that have money.
It's because they've been brainwashed.
Because they think, you know, they're too good, or they think they're high and mighty, or this and this and that. And I'm not saying you have both.
Yes,
you have both.
Exactly.
You have both, right? Wealthy, ignorant, poor, ignorant, and everything in between.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just breaking free from what people have installed into you.
Yeah.
And knowing who you are and what your truth is. And at the end of the day, we are one race. And you've heard me say it before, right? We are the human race. And all we want is love, peace, and joy. Like, that's it. So.
Yeah. And you know what? And there's one thing that I never would have guessed that I would have these conversations with our kids. When I was growing up, or recently I talked to Joey. I don't know if I talked to Audrey, but I'm going to have the same conversation with her. And it's, be careful what adults tell you.
Right.
Like, that was something that when you were growing up, when I was growing up, and generations before us, that wasn't something that an adult would tell a kid.
Oh, no.
It was like if an adult tells you something,
you trust.
That's what it is.
Right? It is what it is. You would trust, you would validate. Yes.
Today, I'm like, take everything, and I'm talking to a fucking 9-year-old. I'm like, take everything an adult tells you with a grain of salt. Like, be careful. Like, take it in, and then as you get older, try to figure out what's the actual deal. But don't be surprised if an adult told you something that was just off the wall, wrong, or false.
Think about those teachers who should have never been teachers.
Yeah.
And gave advice to a student and stole their dreams.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But these are, I never guessed that we would have these talks. But I think, like you're saying, the way things change is by having those talks. By having these talks about all these fucking rabbit holes with your kids so that they're aware of what's going on, so that they know who to trust, who not to trust, and who they need to question.
Yes. See, and I'm okay with that because you and I had a conversation, and maybe because I wasn't hearing you right and I was feeling fear from you, that I took the conversation in a negative manner.
I think I don't know if this is what it is. You can tell me if it is or not. But I was telling you this. It was this same thing, but it had to do with religion.
No. And you were talking to me about talking to the kids about not having children in the future because of where this world is going.
I was just thinking about the world that we're going to leave behind for our kids. Like, what is that world going to look like? Is it going to be falling apart? Because if it is, I don't want my future generation suffering.
See, but this is the thing. Like, see, and this is for me where God comes into place. Like, I just, seriously, like, I want them to experience the love that we experienced with them. And who am I to install fear into their hearts and to still their dreams? If she wants to have children, yes, talk to them, bring awareness, right? But be careful with how you speak it into them. You don't want them to feel fear for their future. You want them to you want them to be able to see a future. You want them to be able to see you want them to see tomorrow. You want them to be able to dream and visualize. You don't want to install fear into them to where they don't see a future, right?
No.
Where they get depressed and stressed and they start thinking, what am I doing in this world? And if I have no future, then what am I doing? Kind of deal. It's like you need to speak with them from love and just like you said, question, right? Yeah. Like exactly what you said. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to install fear into their hearts.
Well, I'm not telling them it's their life. They're kids, and as they get older, it's up to them to do
you never know
what they want to do. I just want them to have information so that when they're making decisions, they're making the best decisions that they can. And
for themselves.
And like we've been talking about for the past hour, the information that is out now is very different from the information that was out 30 years ago.
Right.
We're not living in the same world, and that's why I worry, But I think that doing these things and talking to the kids, and even when I talked to Joey, one of the first things that I told him about questioning adults was, if I ever tell you something and you have a feeling that it's not true or it may not be right, even if you feel that it is true or it is right, there's nothing wrong with looking it up.
Right.
And if I'm wrong and you tell me, that's okay. I'm not going to get mad. It'd be good because you'll teach me something.
Right. No, and I think that's great because that's also showing the kids that we are not above them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, all we want is the truth. That's it.
Right.
And I think that when we talk to our kids about this kind of stuff, when they grow and they think that way from very young, because in the beginning, back in our generations, like I said, like we said, you didn't really question adults. What they said goes.
Right.
But we're living in a different time, and we should raise our kids now to question things. Ask some questions. Why is that like that? Oh, really? You know, and why? Keep asking why until you get down to the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. You know, and hopefully.
And with that, you can also do your research and find that your research is not valid.
What do you mean?
Because there's so misinformation. There's so much misinformation on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just
like, for an example, kind of like what we were talking about, like the whole flat earth thing. You know, there's people that speak, like I, for one, for sure. I mean, I've worked in aviation. I understand how things work. So you're not going to convince me of the earth being flat.
Yeah.
All right. That is not a freaking rabbit hole I'm going down. But the thing is that if you don't have my experience and you listen to some of these videos and you read some of these articles, people are so good with the way they speak and the way they present things that people that don't know will believe it. Martial arts is a perfect example. You have people that speak well that will teach you some bullshit that's going to get your ass kicked because it's not true and it's not real. You know, so you have to be careful of what you're listening to. It's hard to decipher. Mm-hmm.
But it all starts in the home.
Yes.
It does. It all starts with us. It all starts in the home.
Question everything.
We can't change the world, but we can change us, right? Like, we can do the best that we can with what we have, and you know, educating the kids and bringing them up, you know, that knowing that kindness is, you know, at least for me, not
I want to punch somebody in the face. And with that,
thank you guys for you know, listening. Thank you for your support. And
make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share it with those that you know. You guys can go to Amazon and find our merch by searching Opposites Attract Podcast. Go to Trust Inc. by going to trustinkusa.com. Libsyn, our promo code is OAP if you want to start a podcast.
And thank you for listening to Opposites Attract Podcast, where we get better together. Bye.